wanted to be the Chicago correspondent. That to me would have been ideal, flying around the Midwest, covering fires and floods. What a great deal.
I feel for you.
But I kept going down to NBC, and the vice president one day said, you know, we don't have anything in the United States, but we do have 3 foreign postings. And I said, really? Where would that be? And he said, Johannesburg, Tokyo, and Rome. And I said, well, you know, I don't speak Italian, but I do eat Italian. And so he said, okay, you're on. And they gave me about 6 weeks of language training, and I ended up in Rome. Was in Rome for a couple of years, covered the year of the 3 popes when Paul VI died, and then John Paul I, and on to John Paul II. And that was a great launch, career launch for somebody coming abroad, because it got me on the air constantly. Plus, I also had Beirut, the Lebanese Civil War, and then also the Iranian hostage crisis, revolution and hostage crisis that put me in Iran for about 4 months. So in any case, those sort of things launched the career. And then to Paris, well, it was romance, love, because I had fell in love with my producer, and she was in Paris, I was in Rome. We had a point where either she had to move and freelance out of Rome, or I had to move and freelance out of Paris. And all of a sudden, and again out of the blue, how these things turn, John Palmer, who was the correspondent in Paris, late John Palmer, moved to New York to read the news for the Today Show. And so when he moved, the Paris Post was open. I applied for it, got it, and has been here ever since. So that was 1980. I left NBC in 1990 when the bureau closed down. I had no choice. So I went to ABC in Paris and was there until 1996, and they closed the bureau. So if I wanted to stay in Paris, I had to keep changing networks, and CNN was the one left. So here I've been since. I think the French help us make it relevant. I mean, in the sense that they're stretching all the time for some kind of world reach, which may or may not be there anymore. But they're you know, like the United States, they're one of the few countries that has some kind of a world vision and a thought outside the extraterritorial vision. And so I think that helps it along. But it has been tough. I mean, you know, just to point up the differences between then and now, back in the sort of late 80s, or 86, 87, like at that point, there were about 9 network correspondents, with 3 each for NBC, ABC, and CBS, based in Paris. Now, of course, a lot of time was spent traveling. I mean, they weren't all doing French stories. But nonetheless, this was an important base. But as I mentioned, you know, the NBC bureau closed in 1990, the ABC bureau closed in 1996. And since then, they're totally unrepresented here or even on the continent. I mean, those networks don't even have people on the continent anymore.